Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series. Today we'll be discussing The Godfather of Harlem Season 3. So if you're new to my channel, I've got some more subscribers for my promotion. I do a lot of movie reviews, TV reviews, music, educational content of all sorts, so hopefully you stay with me. If not, no big deal. But regardless, you know how we do it for these. I will give you my overall impressions and grade after giving you the logistics about the season and about the series as provided by Google. Once I have given my grade, if you have not seen the movie or the television series and would like to, you want to shut off the video because there will be spoiler alerts. We'll be discussing the plot synopsis and any character development, along with any similar movies or major themes. Again, this is a TV show. You can watch it. It's currently hosted on Hulu. Trying to pull it up now. It says, in the early 1960s, infamous crime boss Bumpy Johnson returns from 10 years in prison to find the neighborhood he once ruled in shambles. With the streets controlled by the Italian mob, Bumpy must take on the Genovese crime family to regain control. First aired September 29, 2019, produced by MGM. And you can watch it with a regular subscription on Hulu. 91% liked it on Google, 92% liked it on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb. And so, what did I think about the season? Again, this is season 3, so if you're watching this or following along at least for the plot, you've probably watched season 1 and 2, and maybe season 3 as well. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, the weakest characterizations in this one, I'm not a big fan of the political Giancarlo Esposito's Adam Clayton's character. I thought it was again less off-putting than previous seasons this season, as well as I'm not a big fan of just the Malcolm X. Again, obviously there's some historical backing to this, but it's in the 1960s. But just again, religion is ontology, and then when you put it into a writing of a show, it just drags for me. I thought there was less of that. I thought the season moved along well. Past those characterizations, I thought everybody else was pretty strong. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched it a lot of episodes yesterday, but a couple episodes before, so I didn't watch it all one go, so I'm sorry I'm going to miss some scenes. But I thought it was strong characterizations, good continuation from season 2. I thought it probably was a little stronger. I forget what I gave season 2. But I did look, and it is renewed for season 4. And I always like to consider, did the show get canceled or renewed, or did it have a planned ending? And so it seems like this one is ongoing. So overall, I'm going to give this a solid B+. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the crime action was well done. Fan of Forest Whitaker's acting. Whoever plays Mamie Johnson, not a big fan of her acting. And I thought from previous seasons, the off-putting characterizations of not even Malcolm X character, just the religion ontology in the show, as well as the Adam Clayton's off-putting character, I thought was less off-putting than previous seasons, and the other characterizations were strong. So overall, B+. I do recommend this TV show, again, for adults or just mature people. But if you have not seen the movie or the TV show and would like to, there will be spoiler alerts. So the season opens up. Again, I watched season 2 a long time ago, or a while back, so I'm not exactly sure where it left off. But kind of the overall plays, you have Bumpy Johnson, again, trying to get control of the Doogie, which I always heard heroin is smack, never heard the term Doogie before. They use that prevalently in this show. So he's trying to get back control of Harlem with his drug trade. In the Italian crime families, you have Stella Gigante, that is reported or turned in Chin Gigante, her dad. She's still mad about her previous lovers. Ernie was kind of like the dude that she was in love with last, who got killed, as well as the African-American actor who got killed in season 1. You have Joe Colombo. Chin is in jail. Joe Colombo is running the family. You have the Adam Clayton and Mamie Johnson trying to do some political business type of deals. And Bumpy Johnson, there's a new character in Jose Battle this season, I believe. I think it's a new character. But he plays a major role, as well as there's roles, again, for Malcolm X in the political environment of the time, as well as there's a CIA Bill character, as well as whoever plays Riley in the National Treasures that we recently reviewed. He plays a minor character as an FBI agent. And so, major developments throughout the season. Bumpy forms an alliance with Jose Battle. Joe Colombo initially puts Bumpy off of, somehow controls the heroin trade, is not letting him. A lot of developments for Stella this season. Basically, Olympia Gigante, Chin's wife, is very off-put that Stella has turned in Chin and is turned into a rat, and so basically Olympia has, I think it's Lucchese's, whoever that guy is, has him, and based on real events, but a lot of dramatization, I'm sure. So not super. I take this one just as more of a fictional thing with some history sprinkled in there. But Olympia has one of the other crime bosses put a hit on Stella, and so this dude comes to the house, and Stella's able to get away and stabs him in the back and kills him. And so Stella now knows that Olympia has tried to kill her. There's a minor to medium relevant character in Chin's brother who plays the pastor. I don't know what his name is. But after she kills that, Chin has Joe Colombo has his daughter Stella under Joe Colombo's care to be safe from the other crime family members. And so Elise Johnson, again, she is kind of like the assistant to Malcolm X this season, following him around. He's getting a lot of notoriety. He wants to do international tours, and basically kind of supports like more communist, or at least is associated with communism by the intelligence forces. And so that's what he's doing throughout the season. Omar, who had tried to kill Malcolm X, again, was a member of the mosque, basically comes back into the scene. Malcolm holds him at gunpoint and is like, let Allah be the judge of Omar. And so Omar comes back into the scene as an ally to Malcolm, and does some undercover, just like goes to different mosques, because the FBI wants Malcolm X, CIA wants Malcolm X, and the Muslim tradition wants Malcolm X. They all want his head. And so he's got a lot of enemies throughout the season. After Joe Colombo puts Bumpy off of the heroin trade, he forms an alliance with Jose Battle, who's a Cuban, and Jose, wants to fight for his homeland. They meet a couple times. They get to know each other. Jose has a lot of his meeting and dealings with this like a soothsayer that just like throws shells, and basically just like an intermediary, just some way superstition to validate his choices. Bumpy's main people, Del Chance and Nat Pettigrew, and they're the main enforcers. They kind of running things. Mamie Johnson wants Bumpy to get out of the drug trade throughout the season. He either lies to her, but he doesn't really leave the drug trade. They do have some, they have a breakup in the season, or just kind of separate for a second, but then they come back. One of Mamie's friends is like, Bump, your husband's a criminal, and Mamie, the characterization is she's pushed to choose an ultimatum, the right thing to do with her husband, and she chooses her husband. Stella then gets upset with Joe Colombo always being around her, so she makes up a lie to Joe, or to the lawyer for Chin, and says that Joe tried to have sex with her, and so Chin puts a hit out on Joe Colombo, and the guy that's gonna whack Joe is talking with Stella before, like, hey, you're gonna leave the room at this time, and I'm gonna come in and shoot him, and she's like, okay, but then the guy, I forget another minor character, but whoever was sent to kill Joe Colombo had also killed Ernie, her husband, in the previous season. So Stella, leaves the room when the guy goes in to whack Joe, and then she shoots the guy that's going to hit Joe in the back and shoots him in the head and kills him. So Stella catches a couple bodies this season, forms an alliance with Joe. After that, she basically becomes a consigliere for Joe. Past that, again, this big character in CIA Bill, you kind of have a back and forth. They say there's a rat. Well, once Bumpy, initially Jose Battle doesn't want to work with Bumpy, but then they end up coming to an alliance. And CIA Bill is like, if you give me information, again, Bumpy is a good friend of Malcolm X, and Bill is like, if you give me information on Malcolm X, we'll, fund and oversee any cocaine distribution you want. And so Malcolm goes to Africa during the trip. He goes with Elise. He gets poisoned, but he survives and comes back, and again is just trying to form an alliance for pushing the rights of African Americans as well as Muslim ideals, and he gets associated with the communist people in Cuba. And so Bumpy refuses to work with CIA Bill in terms of turning over Malcolm X, and he has got some leverage on CIA Bill with Project mongoose or something, basically just clandestine operations being perpetrated by the CIA. So Bumpy's like, I'm not going to give over Malcolm X, and your soda supplier are cocaine, and you'll get 25% because I have this leverage on you. And so the season progresses. Joe gives Stella a plane ticket to Paris. And it's like, you can leave if you want, but I'd rather have you stay here with me. And she agrees to stay, as we've discussed. Adam Clayton and Mamie, they applied for some Palmetto car services, some business grant from the government, and one of the crime family gets it. Nat and Dell, again, they're just enforcing, doing whatever Bumpy wants. They have to go out into the streets to try to collect any money that's owed to them, because Bumpy owes the Italian crime families like $3 million, and they're only able to come up with like $50K off the streets. And so Mamie hears something about the federal government moving money into the city for some repurposing of the city or something. So Bumpy gets a lead on a big armored car heist, and so they rob the armored car. Nat and Dell do, and Bumpy as well. And one of the armored car dudes gets whacked because he comes out. But regardless, they get the money and they're able to pay off the crime families. That's when Bumpy goes into business with Jose Battle. Bumpy becomes kind of close with Jose, and he's like, Jose approaches CIA Bill without Bumpy, Jose, and CIA Bill all kind of working together. But Jose approaches CIA Bill after Bumpy refuses to provide intel on Malcolm. And it's like, Jose's like, I hate the communists as much as you do, and I'll have no problem. And so Bumpy says something to Jose about Malcolm X speaking at the United Nations. And so Bumpy has a run-in again with the Riley character from the National Treasures. And it's like, realizes that, again, they say that Bumpy, once the three, Bumpy, Jose, and CIA Bill start working together, they figure out there's a rat. And so, because Jose Battle gets arrested, and it says there's a confidential informant. And so, CIA Bill's right-hand man, which is Agent Conrad, I believe, they learn that Bumpy learns that it's really just the CIA and the FBI both kind of like battling it out to see who's got the bigger dick on the block to get Malcolm X. And so the arrest was just kind of to stick it to him. But the Agent Conrad shoots Bumpy. Bumpy has a lawyer, a banker, and a politician on payroll. And so he questions them. And then basically the FBI just needs a fall guy, so they shoot Bumpy's lawyer, I believe. And that's when it's the wife of the lawyer that gets killed. That Mamie Johnson has the ultimatum of find the killer of her husband, or the lawyer's wife, or Mamie, to choose Bumpy as which side she is on. And so Mamie sides with Bumpy, and they get back together again after a brief just kind of tiff. And then kind of like the big development, the season culminates with the assassination of Malcolm X. His house gets firebombed. His family is all right, but he's still going to pursue his mission of spreading his word. And so once Bumpy realizes that CIA Bill's right-hand man, the Agent Conrad, is really undercover for the FBI, and that's why he needed a fall guy, and that's why he just randomly killed the lawyer. CIA Bill pulls out a gun and asks him to his face, and then shoots him right away. And so Agent Conrad gets killed by the CIA for feeding intel to the FBI. So you have some inner law enforcement drama as well in this season. Olympia Gigante, back over in that characterization, she doesn't get killed again, Stella. Chin gets released kind of like in season, or episode 8 later in the season, and tries to figure out who put a hit on Stella. And so again, he cuts off the fingers of the Lucchese dude who put the hit out on her. And Stella admits to Joe Colombo, but the reason they're all in this trouble is because she lied to the lawyer to say that Joe was trying to have sex with her. Now later in the season, they end up having a relationship. Again, no sex scenes or anything, but definitely implied. So I thought you could have. I B+ thoroughly enjoyed the season, but I thought there could have been some interesting characterizations of Stella, because at the beginning she just wants all of the crime people to shoot each other. So I thought you could have had some more interesting and fictional, but
interesting development there. I liked it regardless. Again, Omar gets back in with Malcolm, but Stella has a relationship and works for Joe for a little bit. And then at the end of the season, she wants to leave and go to Paris, and so that kind of leads off there. But the real resolution to the season is Malcolm X's execution. And after the firebombing fails, the poisoning fails, CIA Bill has hired these two people, two loose ends that they're going to whack after whether they succeed or not. And they're going to fire an RPG at the United Nations speech from like a riverbank across the street. And Bumpy really doesn't want Malcolm X and this Cuban dude to be in the same place at the same time. And so Bumpy pulls out a gun on Malcolm. It's like, I'll shoot you in the foot if I have to. You're not going to go because you will die. And then they watch the speech and nothing happens. But what really happens is Nat and Dell, they get to where these two CIA assets are that are going to fire this rocket launcher, and they're able to kill him right as he's shooting it. So he fires the rocket launcher, but it just explodes in the river. And so that's the resolution to that. Malcolm says, I don't want anything to do with you, Bumpy, anymore, because it is clearly false. But then again, then there's the firebombing or whatever. But regardless, Malcolm is going to now give a speech at some kind of like college or just town hall meeting kind of area. And so he gives the speech, and then, it's, I think, February 21st, 1965, but he gets gunned down. So Malcolm X is killed in this season. Once CIA Bill kills Agent Conrad, Bumpy Johnson doesn't want to go into business with Jose anymore because he realizes Jose told Bill about Malcolm's information. And Bumpy and Chin, who have warred in the past 2 seasons, they come together to control the dope. Bumpy's the big asset for distribution. Chin and CIA Bill are kind of like the more organized crime people, I guess. But regardless, Chin and Bumpy form an alliance, and CIA Bill pulls a gun on them on the roof, and both Bumpy and Chin just throw him over the roof, and his organs explode all over the sidewalk. So CIA Bill is killed as well. I'm not sure what's going to develop out of that, but so that's kind of the resolution. Chin is free. Bumpy is to get with Chin. Malcolm X is killed. Mamie and Bumpy are back together. Adam Clayton and Mamie are working on some business things, and Joe Colombo is now kind of at war with Chin and the other crime families. So that is the resolution of the season. Again, I'm sure I missed tons of scenes and minor plot developments, but overall I found it thoroughly enjoying. And I will be watching season 4. We'll probably jump off Hulu after this month. I'll watch the first episode of Justified City Primeval, which was pretty good. So I'll definitely follow through with that, but it probably won't be done in this next month. So overall, I definitely recommend it. If you're at this point in the video, you know the major plot developments and you've probably seen the show already. So thank you for watching my review of The Godfather of Harlem Season 3, and I will see you in the next one.